While I'm at the register, he grabs me, pulls and drags me, and starts looking for her. As he's pulling me and comes to this corner, all I know is that shots got fired. Boom, boom, boom. Bonjour, Mon Amis. I hope that you are having a great day and an awesome day. I'm going to jump right into the video. It's a lot to get out. I did want to show you all an update. As you can see, my hair is no longer blue, that it is green now. One thing about when you color your hair, you realize how hard clothes get. And I usually am an all black clothing type of girl, but I've tried to branch out into other colors and things. And you realize it's hard to color coordinate when your hair is green. I absolutely adore it. I absolutely love my hair, and I have almost went through all the colors of the rainbow. I've had red hair, I've had orangish hair. I'm not going to do yellow. Yellow is just not my thing. Blue, now we're green, and indigo violet, basically purple, and purple is my next step. So, but purple probably won't happen until 2025. So I'm loving the green, and I think this is my favorite one yet. The next thing, if I do, will be like the lighter colors like pink and stuff, but I don't know how that would be against my skin tone. I like the darkness of what I have going on here now. So yeah. But we'll see. Y'all know I like to change it up and switch it up from time to time. So what I wanted to get into and talk to you all about today is a bit of my medical history, and I'm going to try my best not to cry. So excuse me, I'm trying not to be one that cries on the internet. But for anyone else that is going through something to where you feel like doctors are not hearing you, you feel as though that your life has ultimately changed and you're trying to find your voice and also speak up and advocate for yourselves and your health, I totally understand, especially if you don't have a clue of what's going on with your health. So I wanted to just come and give a rundown of the events and everything of what led me here today. And yeah, because there's no telling what my testimony would do for someone else. And a lot of times we think we are alone in situations when they happen. But funny enough, there's always someone else that is going through what we're going through. It may not be the exact same thing, but there are a lot of similarities. And sometimes you just need to know that you're not the only one. So, to get started with things, let's take a time machine back. What's it called? I wish I had a time machine. Not in this case. Well, kinda. kinda. But anyway, let's take it back to 2019, right before the panini. So in December of 2019, I was working at a local smoke shop. where I'm at. And I just was coming from out of town because my cousin just had a baby. And whenever my cousins have kids and stuff, I always try to be there for them with those events. So my cousin literally just had this baby like 2 days before Christmas. And I was there helping her and everything and just loving on the baby and giving her breaks. And this just happened to be December 27th. And when I tell you all, I had to work that same day. I was not wanting to work. I thought about asking someone else to work my shift and everything. See, that's discernment for you. That's really discernment for you. But and then I was driving from out of state too. It was like a 3.5 hour drive. Sis was doing the most at that time. And so driving along the road, I'm still sitting there debating and thinking I should call out of work. I really should call out of work. I really should not be at work. I got to get through these hours because I worked at a smoke shop. It was nothing but all women. It was ran by the store was ran by a man, but all of us that worked there were women. And we didn't close. It was a weekend. It was a Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday. And we didn't close until midnight. We truly did not have much security besides just cameras. So keep that in mind. So I get to work and I'm just like, let me pump out these hours so I can get home, get some rest. I don't actually remember if I worked the next day or not. That I don't remember. But yeah, I was just like, let me go ahead, pump out these hours and everything. Now, the thing is, we had just got a new manager at our store. It was his first week and he was coming to see how everything worked, how the store was about, and he was, ready to come in and make some change. The owner of the store happened to be there at the same time too. So it's getting late into the evening. The whole day is passing and it's getting to that last hour to where, you get ready to clean and tidy up before you leave, clean the bathroom, sweep the floors, check the stock, make sure everything is restocked if you can. We had glass displays and everything. Make sure you clean off all the glass from all the grubby fingerprints and stuff that were touching on everything. And, just your closing tasks. I remember it was 11:54. I've gone around cleaning up the countertops and everything. The coworker that I was working with at the time, she was all under, because again, it's usually two girls that are closing. And it usually is just us two girls. Surprisingly, again, we had the owner and the manager there, which that's usually never the case sometimes. So here I am doing all the cleaning. I'm just ready to go at this point. I'm tired. It's been a long day of driving. And right when I was wiping down the counter and I was just going to ask my boss, is there a way, can we close early? Because we got 6 minutes left and don't think no one is getting ready to come in. But we have had people walk in like 5 minutes till, and you be like, why are you here? So I'm wiping down the counters. I get to where I'm getting ready to throw the paper towel away. I look at my watch. It is 11:54. As I'm bent over, throwing away the paper towel, I hear the door open because there is a chime every time the door opened and closed. At this time, the manager, the owner, and my other coworker were on the other side of the building doing some kind of construction or something like that. So I hear that doorbell ring and I go to say our greeting. Hi, welcome. That's when all hell broke loose. This guy comes in, face covered, has a gun in my face. He's like, give me the money. Get the money out right now. Now, before I continue on, I will say there was another shop like ours not far from us. And at that time, for some reason, they stayed getting robbed. I don't know if they do to this day, but at that time, they stayed having some kind of robbery consistently. We didn't have those issues. We upped the cameras, but we even asked our boss, like, what about safety and stuff? And he thought that more cameras would be safe, which that was clearly not the case. But just a week before this happened, the other place got robbed again. And when we heard that the girls were stripped naked and tied up. And we were just like, oh my gosh, that can't happen to us. Like, no, like what? So fast forward back to the day's event. And the guy is holding the gun to my head. I hold up my hands. I show that I have nothing. And I'm like, yes, I will get you what you need. My mind was in, you know how they tell you if you're ever in a predicament, just try your best to do what they say and get them out as quick as you can. That's where my mind was. So the cash register was just right across the way. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm going to the cash register. I'm going to the cash register. At that time, I think in his head, it registered that somebody else was there. Because when the door opened again, according to my coworker, she said the greeting too. So we were both like, hi, welcome, da 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 da. I think it registered to him that someone else was there. So while I'm at the register, he grabs me, pulls and drags me, and starts looking for her. As he's pulling me and comes to this corner, all I know is that shots got fired. And I just hear boom, boom, boom. And at that point, he tosses me aside. I take off crawling on the floor because at this point, I hit the floor. I take off crawling and crawl behind the counter in fetal position and stayed ducked down. I hear him go like, ah, and run out the building. My boss carries, and he had his gun on him. So he fired. That's what that was. and the guy did fire back but missed. My boss ran over to me to make sure that I was okay, that I was fine and everything. I was stuck in fetal position. When I tell you I did not move, when I tell you my brain was not working, I shut down. The owner ran to the window to make sure if the guy was gone. And then he ran back to me, checking me, make sure I'm okay and everything. And the manager starts to call 911. I didn't move from fetal position for the longest. So from the flip side of things, excuse me. So from the flip side of things, according to what happened, as my coworker said, they were over there on that side working on construction of things. And when they heard the door, she did say her greeting. And my manager realized the guy had a gun and he was like, "Gun, get down." So they got down and the owner went on ahead, got down, got his gun out and just went to pointing. So at that moment is when the guy grabbed me and started to pull me across. And when he did, all my boss could see was him and fired. He got him in the shoulder. The other bullets flew. He didn't realize that he had me in his other hand. My coworker came up to me asking me, was I okay? She was like, "Baby, you got to talk to me." It took me, I don't know how long, to finally talk and say something and acknowledge things, because I literally was stuck in that one spot on the floor in fetal position. The cops came. I still did not move, was not talking. Eventually, I came out of whatever in my head. And I did talk to the cops. I was able to tell them everything just as clear as I'm telling you all. I did not move from that spot at the time. Still, I was still on the ground. I remember I called my mom. And again, I just left from my hometown. So she was 3 hours away. I remember calling my mom and telling her what happened. I just know I-20 ain't never seen a lady fly down so fast. She called her best friend. And I had to call a friend of mine at the time because he touched me. They had to take my shirt in for processing. So, and then they wanted all my clothes, I guess, too. So I had to give them my shirt and my bottoms, my pants. But I had to call a friend to be like, hey, can you get me some clothes from my place, please, and tell them what was going on. So in that, needless to say, I was not the same. Something in my body, something in my brain, I don't know what, but something changed that day. I did not go back to work there. I couldn't. And it's funny because the owner tried to say that I was okay to come back. And I'm like, how do you know? And just because he said everybody else was fine and everyone else was good to come back, I was in the thick of it. Sir, what do you mean? That man touched me. I was the only one that had the gun to the head. And you want to say that just because everyone else came back, that it didn't happen to, that I should be okay to come back to work? No. I was already looking to quit my job already. Trying to find a way to move on. Sir, I was not coming back after that. So they did find the guy. Apparently he had a partner as well. Those were the guys that did the robbery with the other place. And I just thank the Lord every day that it didn't get as bad as it could. So after that, I knew things weren't right. Once my mom got in town, I just wanted to sleep. I just wanted to rest. And again, this was around the time of New Year. So my mom was just like, well, why don't you come back home for a week? Well, not home, to say, come to the hometown. She was like, why don't you come to your hometown for a week? Just, there's a new baby in the family. Get your mind off that. Come back with the baby and all that stuff. And I was just like, okay, I think that's what I will do at this point, because I can't just sit. So I go back to my hometown and I'm helping my cousin with her baby and trying to, just do the best that I can, helping her get settled at home because she just had a C-section too as well. And I knew something wasn't right when one day when I was there, she was going to the kitchen for something and I was getting ready to try to help her. And there was something across, because I was sitting on one side of her bed and there was something on the other side of the bed. So I went to grab it and reach it and try to crawl. And I couldn't hold my body weight. And I was like, that's not normal in the least bit. Yeah, I realized that wasn't normal, but I brushed it off. Fast forward to I come back home. There was something hanging from my ceiling. I tried to stand up on my bed to knock it down. I think it was a web. I think I tried to knock it down and I can barely stand on the bed. Like my body weight, like it just, I was so off balanced and so wobbly and just as active as I was. I mean, I could not understand what was going on with my body at that time. Um so over this time period from December to March, I'm trying to find a therapist. I'm trying to get in the right headspace because I don't understand how this event has affected me. And it's like I felt like something in my brain just broke. And something was slowly happening to my body. And even though I was still walking around and being able to do things and this and that, da, 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 my brain is just like, I felt like I disconnected somehow when all of this happened. And I still to this day cannot explain it. It just felt like some switch just shut off. So here comes March. We are in 2020 now. This is literally the week of the Panera. I had a therapist appointment that day. I get up, like, and you're hearing the news of this thing that's going around the world, but it's just not clicking. And so it's getting to the point now, at this point, where when everybody was buying out the stores like crazy, the madness of it just really hit. So this particular day, I was so foggy. I was so out of it mentally. I go to my therapist and I'm bawling in tears. Like it was just, I was overwhelmed that day from therapy and just how I've been just feeling disconnected and just confused and dazed. And I leave not physical therapy, I'm sorry. I leave regular therapy. And when I leave therapy, I was like, I gotta go to the store because I need lemons for my salmon that I'm cooking later. So I go to the grocery store, and when I tell you the chaos was ensued, it may seem like a burr, but everybody remembers when Panini Maker first hit, how insane it was. I could not find lemons to save my life at the store that day. So I was just like, well, let me just go ahead and go home, get some rest, and then we'll see how the rest of the day plays out. I was like, I'll go back to the store later. Again, I am just overwhelmed emotionally. I think the time I got home, I laid out on the couch and I just stared. Like, I was in the dark. Is that when 13 Reasons Why was out? I think so. I think 13 Reasons Why was out then. And that's really the state that I was in. I was literally laid out on the couch crying. From the time I laid my head down on the pillow on the couch, crying, watching 13 Reasons Why in this depressive hole. And I blink and it's like 4 or 5 hours later. I was just like, okay. Oh, I need to cook. Let me get ready to cook. Because I'm starting to get hungry at this point. Even though at this time I kind of really didn't have an appetite, I knew I needed to eat. So I was like, let me get ready to make my salmon. And I was making it in a cast iron skillet. God was telling me at that moment, don't cook. Don't cook. Don't cook. But I was not listening. I was so out of it. What did I decide to do? Sis decided to cook. With that being said, you know how sometimes you may leave previous grease in a cast iron? I needed to get rid of it and clean the cast iron out. So what I was doing was, since the grease was cool, to warm it up a bit so I can get rid of it. And so it won't be so, thick. Warming up just a little bit, not enough to like burn through things, but just, to warm it up, to loosen it, and to toss it. Sis puts the skillet on the eye and then remembers, hey, you didn't get lemons from earlier. You still got to go back to the store. Sis drives off. Sis is me. I drive off. I get to the store. Thank goodness the store is literally like 5 minutes from me. If not, this could have been a lot worse. I go to the store. I get the bag of lemons and I grab something else because I knew I only needed 2 things. So I grab those things. I check out, self-checkout. I drive home. I am at the traffic light at the corner of my house and I'm just like, I left the cast iron on the stove.